company I started 18 years ago with a black scientist. And he wanted to know where in Africa he comes from. Like Will said, we just know that we're African Americans. Well, what does that really mean? There's over 50 countries. There's thousands of ethnic groups and languages and traditions and beliefs. And we don't know where in Africa we came from. Do you know why we don't know? Does anybody know why?
Yeah,
They took it from us when they stole us from here. When we were stolen during the transatlantic slave trade, we lost our names. So there are no Wills here. There were no Ginas here. We lost our languages. You were not speaking English. We lost our families. And it's been completely gone for over 400 years. So we want to know who we are. And now we can know because a black scientist, Dr. Rick Kittles, he did the research. So he came and he collected DNA from all over Africa. And now when someone sends us their DNA, we compare it. We compared his DNA to DNA from all over Africa, DNA that he got from his father. He got it from his father got it from his grandfather, and his father, and his father, for 2,000 years. It was the same DNA. So we looked for it all over Africa, and we found it here. There are some Mende men here who have the same exact DNA as Will. And that's how we made the connection. So that's what my company does. That's why we're here. So I think 60 people from the US and from the UK have traveled to Freetown. And 2 days ago, they received citizenship because they are the descendants of Sierra Leone. And so that's why I'm here.
It's an honor for me to be here. Outside of any traveling, research, or awards, information is very important for us to grow as musicians and as human beings. A little brief history. I'm from New York, from the Bronx, New York, and I grew up in a really lovely house with my mother. We had a 2-level house, and she donated basically the basement apartment for the whole neighborhood. Anybody can come to our house and play. And my older brother was a musician, so I was younger and I watched a lot of great musicians come to my parents' house. Keyboard players, bass players, singers, Latin music, Haitian music, everything came. So before I went into being a musician, I was listening to music all my life and experiencing music and experiencing people playing music. That's where it began for me. I played in church, I played in the Bronx. We used to play right in the park. We would open the city, the traffic light panel, and in every traffic light panel, there's a power switch you can plug into. So we would take a coin, open the panel, take it off, take our power, plug it into the light, and play on the street until the police told us to stop, which didn't happen often. So it's really nice to be able to have this interaction with your neighbors and people on the street. That's where it began for me. As time went on, yes, I went to college, went to Berklee College of Music, and I was studying engineering, how to mix sound, microphones, as well as the instruments. I wanted to do both. And then I began my journey playing first with someone you should know named Harry Belafonte, a great artist. I was 19 years old and very shy about being a musician at that time. And Mr. Belafonte really gave me a beautiful introduction into the industry and my music and my knowledge and what I should learn, things that I should do and what I shouldn't do. Shortly after that, I joined a band called Living Color. Please look that up. It has the English spelling, C-O-L-O-U-R. And Living Color is a rock band. We're all from New York City, but rock and roll is black music. Don't let anybody tell you anything differently. Just like hip hop and blues and jazz and gospel, it's black music. So some people were surprised at how we looked and how we dressed and how we behaved. But if you listen to the music, we're all middle class black kids that grew up in New York, and the subject matter in our songs talk about race, sexism, politics, systematic racism. It's nice to play music and have fun, but all of our tunes in the band have a message in the music. We have a responsibility when you're a musician, I think. And we want to be responsible for the people who came before us. The B.B. Kings and the Jacksons and the take your pick, who else you want to choose. But as it's like family, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your parents, and then you, and what you do affects what your children do and your brother and sister's children. That's how we look at the responsibility of music. I always had a love for Africa, the entire continent as a child, and as soon as I was able to afford it, I wanted to come and do my own research. I want to study all of these things because when I play this instrument, I want to communicate to people, Sierra Leone, Mali, Morocco, Guinea. This is very important that those places and our culture comes out in everything that I play. Whether somebody knows what it is or not, it's important for me to be able to put that across to people. It's not an accident, and I do it on purpose because I want people to hear the history and the brilliance about our culture. It's very important. So I'm having fun, and it looks cool in the video, and what I'm doing is always science in there. So I know this is a little bit more militarily based and classical, but I would like to offer my services as much as possible, post this meeting today to try to help the school get some more instruments, get some other kind of music in here. I'm from the Bronx, that's the home of hip hop, that's where it started, in my neighborhood. So I want to bring some electronic things to the table so the music becomes wide. It's not for old or young, or it's for everyone. That's the idea. It's just sound at the end of the day. The same way you listen to traffic, the same way you listen to the birds, the same way you listen to the beach. It's the same mechanism that happens in your brain. Music responds the same way. It's just sound. How you delegate the sound is up to you, what you want to say. As a black person in the world, my freest moments are when I'm playing music. That's when nobody can touch me. Nobody can tell me what to do. Nobody can tell me how to think. When I'm playing this instrument right here, I am completely free, which is why I love it so much. Nothing else puts me in that place. I'm completely free. So if you don't have any relationship with music, my advice is it's a real direct path or example to freedom. It starts there. When you learn how to behave with the instrument and freedom, you're going to change your attitude when you get out in the world and have relationships with other people. Very, very important. So it was an escape for me when I was young. I had friends that were hustling in the street, gangs, drugs, and I didn't grow up in the ghetto, just so you know. But people make choices. We do know that, just by looking at the political climate. There's bad choices being made, but this instrument for me was a way for me to find myself. I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. I didn't want to sound like everybody else. I wanted to learn more and expand my horizon. I didn't want to talk about the things my friends were talking about. I wanted to discuss other things outside of the Bronx, outside of New York City, even outside of America. What else is going on in the world? How are those things going to affect me, how I play, and what I do? That's really what's behind it. So it's entertaining, it's instrument, it's educational, but I just want to give you a little bit of another definition from me, where it's total freedom. And you draw a circle around yourself, right? Can you envision that? And that's you in that circle, is your space. No one's allowed in, and you don't go out. That's your reference point. That's where you judge how you want to behave, what you want to do. Is somebody telling me the truth? Do I like this? Do I want to do this? That's the way I think about this instrument. I put just like this square carpet is my zone. And when I'm playing even with other musicians, I play with them, but I keep my space because everyone has to have a reference point. And your reference point is only for you. It's not for your parents, not for your partner. But you want to decide what you want to do. That's your space. And in the world of art, there's so many brilliant, great artists, painters, writers, musicians, architects that behave in that way. To become creative, you have to have your own space. And when you start to do that more and more and more, you're going to become more confident, you're going to become more open, your ears are going to get bigger. In my business, they say, the guys that have elephant ears, they can hear when you're playing something, it's like you in a conversation. Somebody's talking about something, you know what they're talking about. You can tune in and go, okay, I know when it's my turn to speak, I know that president, or I know this country. I know the gross national product of this country. I know the language they speak. I know the food that they eat. Somebody talking about Sierra Leone, they don't know you're from Sierra Leone just by looking at you. And you can hear someone say something, whether it's Mende, whatever, you can tune right into that, and then when somebody comes over to you, you already have the information. It's the same in music, exact same thing. So I don't want to get too long-winded, but I just want to give you a little bit of a background about myself and my personal relationship with the art, with music.